Well, good Tuesday morning to everyone. I'm Kelly Knapp,
And I'm Lee Barrows.
and it is election day.
It is election day.
Finally.
Yeah,
Good
if you've not
gracious.
voted, today's your last chance.
hmm
Polls open at 6:30 a.m. and they close at 7:30 p.m. And as long as you're in line by 7:30 p.m., you will
hmm
get to vote.
If you're in line at 7:31, you will not be able to vote.
That's right, because they'll send somebody out at 7:30, stand behind the last person in line, and
Mhm.
anybody comes up after that person, they're done. They
They're going
can't.
to say, too bad, so
Yeah,
sad.
yeah, and
Next year.
I've talked to a lot of people over the last week or so. I've been out at polls and here and there, and a lot of people have been telling me that it's just they love to wait till election day to vote. They said they're old school and that's what they like to do. And I was like,
Well,
yeah,
I voted on Friday.
I
So,
voted
yeah,
a week prior to that,
yeah,
but I had already
yeah.
made up my mind. I
Oh, yeah,
felt
same.
extremely confident
hmm
with it. I had done my research, and nothing has happened since then to
No.
change it or make me regret.
Mm-mm.
But you know what's really weird?
What?
We have a lunar moon today.
I know we had a blood moon last night.
Now, has that got anything to do with election day?
No, I just
Is
think
it
it
not
has to
kind of
do with
strange?
I think it has to do with craziness going out there, but no, and we had an eclipse last night, lunar eclipse
Yes,
last night. Yeah.
yes,
We had a blood moon.
yeah. And
Sent you the
it's
pictures.
yeah, they're talking
Mhm.
lunar a blood moon lunar eclipse. Boy, that's a mouthful this
Mhm.
morning.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, I was like, how appropriate though on
Yeah,
election day.
explains wackiness. It explains it.
I know, kind of thought
Yeah.
I heard some howling when I got out of the truck this morning, come in the studio
Mhm.
from the woods, and I
I
was
heard
like,
it too. I
yeah.
ran in when I got here
I'm
like
like,
a little
okay,
creepy out here today. Yeah.
yes, a little creepy.
And the wind was blowing just enough. Reminded me
Yes,
of the movie The Happening.
yes. Oh,
That's what
yes.
it reminded me of. As soon as that
You're
wind started, you hear those leaves rushing. I'm like,
yes.
oh nope, get in. Get
Right,
in the
and it's going
building.
to be quite windy the next couple days, and we'll go over that a little bit
Mhm.
later in our weather report and
Yeah, we got some
talking about the
exciting
latest
weather
on
happening.
Nicole. Yes,
It's
and
gonna be a hurricane.
yes,
Mhm.
and just for those listening, just know that all the football games have been rescheduled to Thursday night.
Mhm.
Thursday night this week, because Friday night's going to be a lot of rain and wind. So,
Yeah.
but last week was it last the football game? Jacksonville played in rain. The whole game was in rain.
Oh, that's miserable.
Yes, I think that was
Mhm.
Jacksonville North Side. The whole game was rain. So I
2
was like,
weeks ago.
yeah, 2 weeks
Yeah.
ago. Because I listened on
Mhm.
WSME, of course, and
Mhm.
it was just continuous rain. So hopefully they'll have a good night. I know there's some rain coming in Thursday night, so let's hope. Well, look, I got some stats for you.
Let's hear
Early
it.
election
Mhm.
totals for Onslow County: 15,594 votes cast.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's pretty good. That's pretty
Especially for
good.
a midterm.
Well, they're
Yeah.
saying all across the state that the Republicans are really coming out. The numbers are higher this year for this midterm. That the people are really coming out all across the state, all across the country. So I think people are just fed up. They want to see a change.
And I thought about Vic, one of our callers, Vic, yesterday, last night, actually, when I got home from work. I turned the TV on, and there was, just as I turned it on, there was an ad coming on that was against Sherry Beasley.
Right,
And right after that ad was an
right.
ad against Ted Budd. So Vic, I thought about you because you mentioned about all the anti-Beasley ads, but they played one anti-Beasley and one anti-Bud.
I've seen
So
more.
yeah,
Whoop. Well, that was mine. I guess
that
I thought
scared the
I had
heck out of me.
it. It was Fox
Lord,
breaking news.
yeah,
Yeah, it
gracious,
scared me too.
good
My
gracious, you can't do
goodness.
that to me this early in the morning. Oh, we have a caller.
Yes, we do.
Good morning, caller. Who's this?
Good morning, Kelly and Lee. Tim Foster. How are y'all
Well, good
doing?
morning,
Good. How are
Tim.
you doing?
Well, it's election day, so we're at the polls getting it done. So we want
All right.
everybody to get out and vote today. Don't wait till 7:31, like Kelly said.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, is there many people out there right now?
It's fairly steady right now. So I think it's going to hold true to what it's been through the early voting. Is it's going to be steady in one of Onslow County's biggest turnouts. I hope.
I hope so too. I think it's going to be that way across the whole state, though. People are
Yeah.
really pumped up. They're wanting to see changes, and I think what do you think is the biggest issue on the ballot this year, Tim? It's making people
Well, when
come
I
out.
stopped to get gas, and last night when I stopped to get some milk and cereal, there's the answer. Is the
Yes,
cost is a lot greater than it's ever been in a long, long time.
I have to put that as number one. Also,
Yeah.
I
Yep,
do.
that is exactly what I feel like is number one.
Right. Well, you're going to have a very long day today.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, yes, yeah. We're going to go until 7:30, and then we'll spend the next 2 or 3 hours after that waiting to see the results, and then celebrate with everybody else when it all comes in.
That's right. Well, good luck to you. I don't think you need it, but best of luck to you. And thank you for what you do as a county commissioner.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll see what happens tonight.
Absolutely. Thank y'all very much. Appreciate your support. Hope we'll see you later on.
Have a
Yes,
good
sir.
day.
See you, Tim.
Bye-bye.
You know, when you're a candidate on this day, this is a tough day because most of the candidates, not all, but most of them. And I remember this with Robin. Try to hit every precinct. You
Yes,
understand? There's
it's hard
24
to do.
precincts. I'm gonna tell you right now, it is hard. It is a lot of work, um, and it's a long, long day
It
for the
is a long
candidates.
day.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you, I spent Sunday and Monday going to polls, and
Mhm.
I
I
hit
remember doing
a
that.
little
Yeah.
over half of them, but I went out way out in the country
Yeah.
and hit those polls way, way out, trying to help some of the candidates with signs. And it's a
It's
lot
a
of
lot.
driving.
Yeah.
There's no way possible you can hit all the polls in one day, as far as when you're out there campaigning. It's
The
impossible.
first year Robin ran, we hit all but one, and I was his driver. It was awful. Like it was a lot.
I remember back 2016, Kevin
Mhm.
and I did that. Kevin was the chairman at the time,
Mhm.
and I was the secretary at the time. And we split up the polls, and we were going poll to poll to check on the workers, see if they
Mhm.
need anything, check on water. And that was a long day. It took us most of the day just to go check on everybody. So it's a lot of territory in Onslow County to
It's a
cover.
lot. We were
24
it's
precincts.
a lot. It's a lot of driving. People have questions, and then
Right.
we were taking lunch to our our
Yes.
poll workers for us that were holding up signs. I have to make them hydrated and fed and stuff.
That's right.
It's a
And
long
today's going to be
day.
a great day,
It's gonna
though,
be a
because
very
it's going
nice
to be
day.
cool.
Yeah,
So it's not too hot
yeah, which is good because
and not too cold.
sometimes it is cold.
Well, I've been
I
out
mean
there on
hot. I'm
days
sorry.
where it was
Yeah,
so hot you could barely breathe, and
like
other days
melting.
where it was so cold you
Yeah,
had to go get your boots
I've
on.
been out there in both. Yeah.
Yes,
So,
yes.
but yeah.
Well, here's some
So we'll know
stats for
tonight.
you
Okay.
under the giving you the total so far for early voting. According to Party, now this is here in Onslow County, you had 6,708 Republicans. Rayford, 4,770 unaffiliated.
Mhm.
And then the Democrats, we had 4,026 and Libertarians 90. So the
That's that have
Republicans,
voted so far.
that's so far. That's for
Okay.
early voting and absentee ballots.
Mhm.
So I think people are making a statement. They're
Mhm.
making a statement. So it's going to be interesting to see. What are you doing tonight? Are you going to any election parties or
I'm working.
are you?
Yeah.
Oh,
I
it'd be
have
good.
clients late tonight.
Oh my
Mhm.
gosh. Well, I know I've been invited to several parties. I'm not sure where I'm going. More than likely, I'll probably be sitting home with some chicken wings and some
Mhm.
iced tea and in my pajamas because I just sit there and I'll watch all night long what rolls in.
I'll be rolling in probably around 9. I'm gonna be tired. I'll turn it on and watch it
Right.
once I get home. But yeah, I got a couple of new clients this evening. So
Well, that's good.
yep. So I'll
Nothing wrong
be
with that.
working.
Well, well, maybe the Powerball numbers will roll in at the same time because they didn't have the drawing last night because of a technical security issues.
Oh bull.
I don't know.
Well,
Maybe.
good. I can go buy me a ticket then.
Yeah. Well, I think it's too late for that, but hopefully nobody will win.
Look, I would be happy if I won like 500,000. I would just pay all
Right.
my bills off. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right. Well, this is the California lottery announced late Monday night that it's delaying the Powerball drawing because officials needed more time to complete security protocols.
what does
I
that
mean,
even mean?
shouldn't we have already had that in
That should have been
place?
done.
Powerball has strict security requirements that must be met by all 48 lotteries before drawing can occur. So,
I don't. But that should have. Do you not already do that? Like,
yeah,
I'm
I'm sure
confused.
there's a story going to come
Oh,
out of this.
it's
We just don't know
California.
the
Of
whole
course
story.
it is. Come on.
The delay was still in effect as of early Tuesday morning due to an issue in another state. It is not due to any delays at the California lottery. There is currently no estimated time for the drawing. So if you've got that ticket in your hand and you feel it, you've got that feeling, you're just going to have to wait a little bit longer.
I don't
So
know.
I don't know. I keep forgetting to go out and buy one. So it must mean that I probably would have had the winning ticket. What would you do if you won the lottery?
First thing I would do was pay off, like my car and
Right.
kids' cars and stuff like that, and pay off the girls' colleges, um, pay off my daughter's house.
That's what I would do. I would pay off all my daughter
Hmm.
and her family's debts. I would pay off my sisters and brothers' debts. And I'd buy a big piece of land somewhere outside in the county and just have our own little
That's
community
what I
there.
would do, and
Build
yeah,
everybody a house.
I'd buy me place. Yeah, but everybody knows I want to move to the county. I just can't find any land, and right now,
I saw
with the
some for
interest
sale
rates
in my
now, I'm not
travels.
buying nothing.
No, no.
But I have specifications. I know what I want. I
Right.
want a house where all you see is a driveway and you can't
Yes.
see a house. Um, and then I would buy a property in the mountains
Yes. That would be
in
awesome.
case of a zombie
I'd
apocalypse. I
have
could go there. So yeah.
I don't know. Bigfoot lives in the mountain. I
Oh,
think I
he'll be
saw
my
him this
friend.
week
Are
in
you
some of the
kidding?
areas I went.
Bigfoot would be my friend.
Hey, just a real quick update on this is the 4 a.m. update from the National Hurricane Center on subtropical storm Nicole.
Hmm.
Hurricane conditions and a dangerous storm surge are expected in portions of the northwestern Bahamas on Wednesday, where a hurricane warning is in effect.
Yeah.
Hurricane conditions are possible across portions of the coast of southeast and east central Florida beginning late Wednesday or Wednesday night, where a hurricane watch is in effect. Tropical storm conditions are expected in the tropical storm warning areas in Florida and Georgia beginning early Wednesday. A dangerous storm surge is expected along most of the east coast of Florida and portions of the coastal Georgia where a storm surge warning is in effect. The storm surge will be accompanied by large and damaging waves. Residents in the warning area should listen to advice given by local officials. Do not focus on the exact track of Nicole, since it's expected to be a large storm with hazards standing well to the north of the center and outside of the forecast zone. These hazards are likely to affect most of the Florida Peninsula and portions of the southeast United States. Nicole will produce heavy rainfall Wednesday and Thursday across Florida. Flash and urban flooding will be possible across portions of the Florida Peninsula, along with renewed river rises on portions of the St. Johns River. Flash urban and small stream flooding will be possible in southeast Georgia and portions of South Carolina Thursday into Thursday night. And then after that, it'll be a little closer to us. So
I
keep a
know.
watch on the weather. I think the weekend's going to be messy.
According to this, Saturday's going to be a good day.
Yes.
Friday's going to be rough here.
Right.
And that's too bad because Friday's after the show, I'm driving to mom's.
Oh, no.
I hate driving in the rain on 40.
Oh, I
With
do.
a passion, do
Oh,
I hate
no,
it.
no, 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 no.
Yeah.
You know, I used to go
Feel-
to Charlotte a lot for
Mhm,
business, and I used
mhm.
to take the 4085. No, not anymore. I'd take the 74, 76 and come up the back way because 85 is crazy.
Yeah.
You've got to drive 100 miles an hour, and it's like 6 lanes in one
Yeah.
direction, and
Yeah.
people are weaving in and out and passing you like you're standing still.
Mhm.
And I've seen some bad accidents up there, and I was like, nope, don't do it anymore.
85 is how you go from mom's house to Charlotte. It's how we
Right.
always went to Carowinds as a kid. But it's like it's awful.
It's a
And, yeah.
racetrack.
And
It
I
is just
hate
horrible.
driving 40,
Oh, I
85.
did too. 40. Just once you get past Durham,
Yeah.
it kind of settles down a little bit. But just trying to get through Raleigh and Durham, it is just horrible.
Going through Burlington lately, the last couple of times I've been home have been just awful.
Wow.
So I'm hoping the rain will hold off at least up there.
Yes.
It can follow me.
Right.
Just let me, it can start here and let me get ahead of it. Just,
Kelly's gonna be out trying to outdrive the rain.
And then once I get to mom's, I don't care. Rain all day for all I care.
Right.
And I've already checked the forecast. Heavy rain there and
Yes,
here.
I saw it. Yeah, I think it's gonna be worse over in Eden than it is
Mhm.
on the coast. So
Of course it is.
we'll have
'Cause
to
that's
wait and
how things
see.
roll for me.
Yeah, of course. Well, if
So
anybody's got any comments, tell us about have you voted yet, and if you are not, about what time you're going to go, and
yeah.
how excited are you to
Is the
vote? And
voting open already?
it's
It open?
6:30 this morning.
Oh wow.
Yes. Yep.
That's right. I don't know why I keep thinking 7:30. It is
Right.
6:30.
But give
Yeah.
us a call at 910-333-0139. We'd love to hear from you.
I think some people probably were voting on their way to work.
Yes.
Mhm.
And then at lunchtime, and then there'll be a swing right
There
when
will
they
be.
get off work. So somebody's going to call us now and tell us
Yep.
about voting.
Good morning, caller. Who's this?
Hello.
My name is Jimmy Stevens, and I just voted over at First Baptist for the Northwoods precinct, and I just want to let everyone know, if you're in a hurry, don't go, because they only have one computer working this
Oh
morning.
no,
no.
that's at the Catalyst Church.
You got the Catalyst
Yeah,
location.
right
I
off the
just wanted to let
plantation.
everybody know that.
Well, we
thank you.
appreciate that.
Oh my.
And I'm praying for Rayford.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. He's great. He's
He should be
doing
back
good.
in here tomorrow, we think.
Yeah, he'll
so.
be back.
Yep.
Yeah.
We made him take
Okay, well,
care of
y'all
it.
have a great day, and God bless you guys.
Thank you so much for calling.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Oh wow. So yeah, if you're in a hurry, you may want to plan accordingly if you got to go over to Catalyst.
What's a good time to stand outside and get to know your neighbors too?
I'm telling you, the weather is good, so it's not raining and
Yes.
it's not hot.
Well, I'll be
so-
out there later on, like I
Yeah.
said, traveling pole to pole, seeing some of my friends and helping out some of the candidates. So,
Hey Marty.
This is Candy.
Oh hey Candy.
hi, Candy.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. And
How are
did you get some rest last night? You doing good?
Doing great.
I know
Doing
you're-
blessed. Highly favored.
You're still tired from Dancing with the Stars.
Just a touch. Just a touch.
Bless
I went
you.
and voted.
Well, good.
Good.
How was it?
It was good. There was actually, I didn't do my normal first in line this morning, but
That's right. You're always first in line.
I'm always first in line, but it's a little struggle this morning.
I know.
But
What was your number?
Marty, Allie, and I was 39 actually. I think I was
Wow.
39. Marty, what were you?
42.
Marty was 42, and Allie came out after me, so she was 40.
Well, that's a good start for the morning. Good start.
And there was a line of people when we left, so we voted over here in the Bryn Mawr precinct.
Right, over at the fire station.
Yes,
Wow.
so just wanted to
Well,
call in, say
this
it's going good.
wasn't this Allie's first time voting?
I know. How?
No, she voted primary.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's right. All right.
And Candy, your dad just sent a message to tell you good morning.
He's listening.
He's listening.
Oh, good. Tell him I said good morning, and I hope that he behaved himself last night with the nurses and doctors.
Well, that remains to be seen, huh? I'm sure they heard a lot of stories. I'm sure they were very entertained.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, I'm sure they were.
He told any of those stupid jokes. Oh,
Oh no, I like his jokes. They're so
His
corny.
jokes
I
are
have
awful.
to laugh. I love the jokes.
they are awful.
But I agree with Kelly.
Yeah, yeah, see, Candy agrees with me.
I'm just like, oh Lord, every time I read
But
one.
see, I've listened to those jokes longer than any of y'all have.
I know.
Yeah, that's true.
You probably can tell them as he's saying them.
Yes.
Right, so I know how to, you got to really pay attention too if he's trying to ask you a question because he's trying to trick you up. If
I
you
know.
can pay attention, you can catch on really fast.
Oh, he does that
Well-
to me a lot.
Mhm.
I say really fast. Sometimes I even still get a little stumped, and I just don't respond so I can fully think it through.
Hey, let me ask you this. When you went out to vote, did you have to wait in line at all? Or did you go right in?
No, we did have to wait in line, yes.
Okay.
And I'll be honest with you, I got a little mad this morning.
Why?
Not at the poll workers. No, I had to park a little differently because I'm, was being in a boot. I kind of parked up front there, and then Allie parked across the street, and so it was Marty and I in line first, and then there was another couple behind us, and then Allie was walking up, and I asked him, I said, "Do you mind if my daughter joins us in line?" And the lady responded, she goes, "To vote?" And I said, "Well, yes, ma'am. I mean, if there's a problem," she goes, rolled her eyes, made a snark, so I jumped out, grabbed Marty, we jumped out and got behind her. I was just like, oh my God.
Like, I mean, what people are just ill. And
But, then again, I don't know if it's just me because I was ill this morning too, but then I'm thinking, if there would have been like a huge number of people behind us, I would have never asked. But it was just them.
right.
Right.
So, but whatever. I still voted,
Yeah.
and that's all that matters.
I'm glad you voted. Glad you got in there and got out. I totally forgot you're still in your boot.
Oh, your
'cause you
vote
just
counts.
mentioned it. So,
So let's hope. I hope for a good outcome out of this one.
yeah.
I did, yeah. A good out, yes. Yes, yes, yes. So, alrighty.
Girl, I won't tell you what your dad called you on this message.
I saw that, but I didn't say it.
Don't. I'm not going to say it out loud. You already know. And he does.
What letter does it start with?
See
See your name, but
your full name.
Oh, no, 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 no. Don't you
We're
dare.
not going to say it.
See,
He does that to irritate-
that's why I don't tell him my full name.
yeah.
No.
No.
Well, I know. I'm telling you, he's awful. Snooky's just laying up there, you know.
Yeah. He does that to irritate her. I've seen him
Yes.
do it. He does it on purpose because he knows she don't like it.
Yeah, I understand. I grew up like with a name like that, so I understand 100%.
Yeah.
And he said there's ugly everywhere.
He's not wrong about that
Yeah,
either. And
he's
we're
not
talking
wrong
about
about
he's
that.
talking about the people with their comments.
Yes.
Yeah, I just, you know. But I got over it. I was trying to show grace. But
Right.
Oh, you
it
can't
was
do it.
hard. I'll be honest with you, it was hard. I'm like, really?
She learned a lesson this morning. I wouldn't have asked. She just got in front of it.
My goodness gracious.
Well, hey, y'all have a blessed morning, and I will chat with y'all later.
You too. Thanks for
All right.
calling
See
in.
you guys.
Bye.
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 All right, let's take a break. We're live in Local Real Talk on Freedom 97.1, 1120 a.m. WSME. We'll be right back. Probably would help if I turned the mics on.
Yeah, it would help.
Yeah. All right, time for some weather.
Yeah, we're going to start with your marine forecast, which is brought to you by Tideline Marine. With a team committed to the boating and fishing community, Elise and George have made it a priority to make sure your experiences are good ones. While it's not practical to tell you how to repair your motors, Tideline understands that there are many things you can do to save time and money. That's one reason the ship store has a variety of prepackaged do-it-yourself maintenance kits. Knowing too that today's outboard motors are much more complex than the Evinrudes of the 1960s, Timeline has a staff of factory-trained and certified technicians to keep your engines running. Tideline Marine, 159 Oak Ridge Street, conveniently located across from the Wildlife Boat Ramp in downtown Jacksonville. And they are open weekdays 8:30 till 6 and Saturdays 8:30 to 2. Right now, we have a gale warning in effect through Wednesday evening. Today, northeast winds 25 to 30 knots with gusts up to 45 knots. Kelly, seas 7 to 10 feet, except for 4 to 6 feet near the shore. Dominant period 6 seconds. Adjacent sounds and rivers very rough. Tonight, northeast winds 25 to 30 knots with gusts up to 45 knots. Seas 8 to 11 feet, except for 4 to 6 feet near shore. Dominant period 7 seconds. Adjacent sounds and rivers very rough with a slight chance of showers after midnight. Wednesday, northeast winds 25 to 30 knots with gusts up to 40 knots. Seas 9 to 12 feet, except 5 to 7 feet near shore. Dominant period 9 seconds. Adjacent sounds and rivers very rough with a slight chance of showers. So it's going to be rough out in the ocean.
I hope nobody's taking their boat out.
I hope not
It'd be
either.
crazy to do that.
Exactly.
Well, today, sunny, high of 68. It's going to be gusty, and gusts here could be as high as 32 miles an hour. Wow, that my wind chimes are going to be ringing. Tonight, increasing clouds, low of 52. Still gusty, but gusts tonight as high as 29 miles an hour. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy, a high of 69. Tomorrow night, mostly cloudy, low of 59. Still gusty. And then on Thursday, cloudy, high of 76, and still gusty again.
It's going to be quite windy. If you've not got your leaves up yet, I'd probably just wait a couple
I
more
wouldn't
days.
fool with it. People
No.
that have been, I saw somebody in my neighborhood when you first come in that they had raked up a whole pile of pine needles.
Right.
And all I could think of was yesterday, because I knew what the forecast was going to be. If y'all don't get that up today, you did all that work for nothing.
Right,
I mean, they
right.
had a pile.
Well,
So,
I was going to do mine yesterday, but then I thought, well, it's going to be so windy this week, and I have one tree left that's yet to shed all its leaves. So I'll probably go out in the next couple of days after the storm passes and get up what I have, so it won't be so much to do at one time.
well, trust me, this wind is going to knock all those leaves off your tree.
Right.
And you know something really weird? Sunday night, you know what the temperature is going to be?
What, 30s?
32.
Ooh,
Yeah.
32.
That means you got to turn.
I
the heat.
ended
You're
up
gonna have
having to
turn
turn
the heat
the-
on Sunday night.
Well, I ended up, I've gone like 2-3 weeks with no heat or air, but I ended up just the last couple of days turning the air back
we
on.
had the air back on. I had the heat on those 1 or 2 nights it got
Right.
cold. Because I got 2 senior dogs, and if it gets real cold,
Yes.
it makes their little bones hurt.
Yes.
But Sunday night, I can promise you, our heat is going to be on. Yikes!
Imagine.
Yeah. So we
Be-
got Pete in the studio with
Yeah.
us.
Our friend Pete Benton, he came in to
Help us out because
help us out a
early
little
today.
bit. Yeah, Kelly's leaving early, and
Mhm.
he's got some facts and figures on midterm elections, and because he's been into politics for a very long time,
Mhm.
starting off with helping Walter Jones in his campaigns, and you're a good friend of his. So
Yeah, Walter and I were friends for 60 years.
Oh,
His
wow.
father and my dad were very, very close. And I've often said that there were no two finer men who ever served in the United States House of Representatives than Walter Sr. and Walter Jr.
right,
And it was a privilege and an honor to have known them.
right. I'm gonna move the mic a little bit
Okay.
closer to you. There
Thank
you
you.
go.
So what you got for us over there?
Yeah, a couple of things that are
Info-wise.
rather interesting. We see that the Supreme Court, that's going to be a hotly contested race. And I was reading some statistics that there's 4 general election candidates seeking 2 positions, and affluent political PACs have spent $15 million to try to influence voters.
Wow.
And the 2 super PACs have spent over $8 million. So we see the political action committees, that are very, very active. What's going to be interesting as well at the national level, currently in the House of Representatives, 435 seats. Okay.
Mhm.
That's as per a constitutional amendment. Right now, the Democrats hold 220 seats and the Republicans hold 212. What we must do is that whatever party wins must hold at least 218 seats out of the 435. And the Republicans need to go on and take at least 216, and the Dems will need to take 199. So I believe, based upon what I've read, I think there's a very distinct possibility we're going to see the Republicans are going to win a lot of races, not only in the House and the Senate, but in other local, elections as well. I think you have to understand the mood of the American people. The American people are fed up with politicians,
Mhm.
and for good reason.
Yeah.
On both sides of the fence, they've been unable to effectively govern this country.
Agreed.
We have not had a budget for decades.
Mhm.
We've been operating on concurrent resolutions for years. That is absolutely, incomprehensible. I can't believe that that's been going on. I think now more than anything, I hope that this election cycle, what happens today, will be a unifying effect for America. Ronald Reagan said it the best. He said, "We're more than just Democrats and Republicans. We're Americans." And Lincoln said that I think was so prophetic, "A house divided shall not stand." Now more than ever in the history of the United States, it is reminiscent of 1700s when we fought the British when this nation was divided, and then again during the Civil War in the 1860s.
Mhm.
We need some strong leaders on both sides of the aisle who are committed to God in this country to reunite this country. And I'm hoping that these elections, the American people are going to exercise their constitutionally granted power to vote.
Yeah.
As God said that in natural law, I give the power to the sovereign people, not the government. Our founding fathers and mothers knew the propensity of placing too much power in a small group of people, the propensity for corruption and for tyranny and for power grab.
Mhm.
And believe it or not, our founding fathers didn't believe in a two-party system. That didn't come into
I don't
existence
believe in
until
a
later.
two-party system. So, and I think true today, nationally as well as even locally, people get so caught up in the letter, and people that are running for office need to keep in mind you aren't running just to represent the party you have aligned yourself with.
Mhm.
You have to represent all
That's
constituents.
right.
Correct.
That's
And,
right.
and I think there are some currently running even here locally that don't seem to understand that, at least what I'm gathering just from stuff I'm reading. And that's not how it works. And I do not agree with voting for a person voting just because of the letter behind somebody's name, because we found out locally
Yes, we did.
last election how
That's
bad
right.
that can be.
That's right.
So, and I would urge people to do their research. And if you have waited until election day to try to research candidates, shame on you for doing that.
That's right. Well,
'Cause
you
you had a
know,
long time.
I've talked to a lot of people as well as you that are just kind of fed up, and they're split voting now. You
Mhm.
know, they've
Oh, I
come
know a
to
lot of people that have
oh,
split
I
vote.
know a lot of
Mhm.
people that are, I will say, Republicans that have split their votes on the ballot because they're looking past now what the R and the D means. They want the person that's good for the job, that they feel is best qualified for the
Mhm.
job. And I think you're seeing a trend across the country on that now.
Mhm. You know what's interesting? Do you recall who the first vice president of the United States was? He served under George Washington.
Oh, no, I
No.
John
don't.
Adams.
It was John Adams.
John
Okay, I
Adams.
was thinking that, and I'm like, no, I think I'm
Yeah.
wrong.
And
Okay.
his son followed him.
Mhm.
Okay. What was interesting, John Adams said, when considering those for public office, we must pick men of high moral character.
Mhm.
Right.
What was he talking about? He's talking about faith and patriotism.
Mhm.
Out of the 55 men who signed the Declaration of Independence, 29 of those men served in the Revolutionary Army under the command of General George Washington. They knew the price of freedom.
Yeah.
But our founding fathers and mothers, in their infinite wisdom, knew that. And John Adams said something else that was so prophetic, that a democracy is meant for a holy, religious, and moral people.
Mhm.
Okay. This nation was founded upon Judeo-Christian values. Do you know what two nations had the most profound effect upon the formation of America? Israel and the Great Britain.
Mhm.
Wow.
That's a weak copy. Yeah.
Mhm.
So to your point, I totally agree. I think you're seeing what I call a paradigm shift in
Mhm.
politics today. People are no longer saying, "Well, I'm not voting straight and party." I think it's the civic duty and responsibility of every citizen to exercise the power of digging in there and understanding the candidates, what they stand for. Look at their experience, look at
Mhm.
their background, look at their voting record. Okay, Civitas, the Heritage Foundation, Judicial
John
Watch,
Locke.
John Locke.
Yes.
Yeah, they're excellent organizations.
Mhm.
You want someone who's fair and impartial. Okay. Um,
Yes.
Interesting. When I was doing the research. You know what some of the major issues are in this midterm election?
I would say inflation number one.
Absolutely, without a doubt. It is placing a tremendous financial strain upon
Mhm.
lower class families and middle class families
Mhm.
to try to pay for groceries, pay the
Amen.
rent, or pay the mortgage, pay for the cars, take care of the kids. My heart really is deeply saddened, and it hurts for the families
Yeah.
who are trying to make ends meet and trying to get their children an education.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Do you recall in 1980 what three things Ronald Reagan ran on? Any ideas?
Oh.
Lower taxes,
Yeah.
less government, and more freedom.
Yep.
Okay. Do you recall what the inflation rate was? 21% under Jimmy Carter.
Right.
I do know that
Yeah.
because my
Yes.
dad used to
And
complain
that's
about
something.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Economics is a major concern to the
Mhm.
American people. Look what it's doing to their savings.
Yeah.
Okay. Look at, they have to curtail their spending, and it's a terrible burden upon the families. And I think another particular issue that's of great concern is education.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. 100%.
Sloan Brackmouth is a dear friend of mine. She's
Mhm.
Education First Alliance, and she is a champion for parents
Mhm.
and for taking care of our children. There's an interesting saying that how you destroy a democratic country or this constitutional republic is by instituting socialism.
Mhm.
The first thing you do is destroy the educational system, because
Yes.
if you do that, you destroy the next generation of
Oh,
Americans.
absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
Right.
Let's
Well-
take a break so we'll stay on task,
Right.
and then we'll come back and pick up this conversation because
Yeah,
I believe
very
Pete
interesting.
has some very good points.
He does.
So let's take a quick break. We're live in local real talk on Freedom 97.1, 1120 a.m. WSME. We'll be right back. And we are back, and it's myself and Lee Barrows, and we have Pete Benton in here.
Yes.
Good evening
Yeah.
or good
So-
morning.
Well, there you go. It's
Well,
been that
it
kind
is
of a
evening
week.
somewhere, yeah.
It is evening somewhere.
Mhm.
That's right.
Mhm.
And
And-
election day.
It's election day. We've already gotten some callers that we're talking about. It's been steady already.
That's right. Steady.
And not even 2 hours into voting yet. So I think maybe locally that's a good sign.
Yes, I'll have to text somebody and get a report on the catalyst and see if all the machines are up running yet. So that's interesting.
Yeah. Well, there's always a glitch,
Right.
but it beats having to hand count and hand whatever the ballot. So I'll take the computers any day over
Oh,
that.
sure,
Yeah.
sure.
Good
eh,
gracious.
Yes, most
So-
definitely.
Pete was bringing up some election information. And we stopped to take a break. So go ahead, Pete. And I agree with you. Peter brought up, two important issues being like inflation and economy and education. I think definitely education. I think we've got a lot of issues in the school systems now, and it's not so much a school system issue, but it's the issues are causing school system issues.
I think first and foremost, the most important thing is parental control over their
Mhm.
child's education.
Mhm.
Parents have that duty and responsibility to ensure their kids get a good education.
Yeah.
It's the wish of every parent that their child do better than they.
Correct.
That's the beauty of this great country is that
Mhm.
people came from America from all walks of life with nothing,
Yeah.
but they came to America with a dream and the hopes of achieving something. First of all, of living in a free country,
Yeah.
of having the opportunity to become prosperous.
Mhm.
Okay. If you recall that Jamestown 1607, when the Puritans came to this country, they came here for one primary reason, to escape religious persecution.
Yes.
Okay. And our founding fathers and mothers in infinite wisdom realize that God gives and God takes away.
Mhm.
That's why they founded this nation upon Judeo-Christian values. As I said before, John Adams said quite succinctly that a democracy is meant for a wholly religious and moral people. Okay, they basically go together. Conversely, if you look at socialism, communism, they're atheistic. They
Yes.
don't believe in God.
Mhm.
And another poignant point I was reading the other night is that the beauty and wonder of a constitutional republic and a democratic form of government, it recognizes individual differences. Now, believe it or not, in 1607 to 1620, Plymouth Rock, they tried socialism.
Mhm.
It was an abysmal failure.
Yeah.
It didn't work.
Mm-mm.
There were some people who made excuses. Well, a funny story, Captain John Smith there in 1607 at Jamestown, they had some people who were motivationally challenged and didn't want to work.
Yeah.
And he said, that's not a problem.
Mm.
For it is written in the scripture, if a man doth not work, a man doth not eat. He took all the food supplies and stocks and locked them up in the storeroom. And after about 3 or 4 days, the attitudes changed.
Of course.
Okay. Let's get back to education. Education, as I've said before, is paramount to a civilized society. And if you look at, unfortunately, over the decades, America has slid.
Mhm.
And, we used to be right at the very top because we had strong educational systems. Okay. Today, unfortunately, for example, the critical race theory,
Mhm.
it is nothing more than Leninist, Marxist ideological indoctrination of our children.
Mhm.
Its intended purpose is to separate the child from the parent, to break the relationship, to cause rebellion. Look at all the issues and problems that kids are having. And it's just a terrible, sad situation. We all grew up in some of the great years of America. I'm a baby boomer, okay? And to me, those were some of the greatest, most prosperous, blessed years of this nation.
I
Okay.
think so too.
12 years ago, I was in Germany as a senior war planner. I brought my wife over. She's a veteran. We literally walked the shores of Normandy Beach,
Wow.
Memorial Day weekend, 2010. I'll never forget it. They will always be America's greatest generation.
Yeah.
An interesting thought, and then I did a lot of reflection when I was in Germany, and I thought about the greatest generation and their sacrifices, okay, just like our founding fathers.
Mhm.
But I believe there is a spiritual revival in America today. People are turning back to God. They realize there's only one way to save this great nation. Now, getting back to education, I believe that education is very, very important for all of our children because we want them, as I said before, to have a better life than we have. Getting back again to critical race theory, I've had lengthy discussions with Sloan Rackmouth and other people who are fighting against this.
Mhm.
It's a terrible situation. I actually saw some of the documents that the teachers and educators were passing out to the children. They were asking very intimate questions about their relationships with their mother and father, about drugs and alcohol and any violence in the house and domestic issues and everything. And I think those are fundamental First Amendment freedoms. The government has no right to pry into the private lives of Americans. Ronald Reagan said it the best: when the power of government expands, so do the rights of the people contract. It's always been an eternal conflict between government and the people. And as I said before, God, through natural law, gave the power to the sovereign people. And it's high time that this government realized they're the servants of the people, not its masters.
Goodness. Well, when we come back from commercial break, I'm going to tell you what my number 2 is. I told you my number 1 was inflation. I'm going to tell you what my number 2 is, and I want to see what your number 2 is, Kelly.
Okay. All right. We're live in local real talk on Freedom 97.1, 1120 AM WSME. We'll be right back. And we are back,
Yes, we are.
and we have been discussing politics
And issues.
the political climate, and the climate with voters.
Right. Well, like I said, my number one issue was inflation. My number two issue is crime and the spike in crime rates. Major cities across the United States in red and blue states have seen a surge in violent crime since the pandemic, and with homicides hitting historic highs in 2020 and 2021.
Oh.
And right now, the Council on Criminal Justice are saying homicides in 2022 are still 39% higher than the same period in 2019, with property crimes, violent crimes, and drug offenses also seeing increases this year. So, what are we going to do?
Well, I will say it again. I think states' penalties for crimes need to be revamped.
I think so too. I think we need to take a look at the laws on our books. It's just like some of these states have that, they bring you in, process you, and let you go, and we'll see you at court hearing.
Yeah.
No bail. So I think we need to strengthen our laws.
Yeah.
I would totally agree with that. Years ago, when I became an ordained deacon in Goldsboro, where I was living, I did a series. It's called The Man in the Mirror by Patrick Morley. Patrick Morley was a very successful, wealthy man in Florida. He had everything, yet he had nothing. He had all the material things, but he didn't have a spiritual relationship with God and Christ. He was introduced to a friend of his that invited him to church, and he was absolutely inspired. So he started a Thursday luncheon down in Florida, and we bring in all walks of life of people, and they would study scripture. I go to 2 Bible studies a week, which I think is very important. What was interesting, when he did his studies, he found that 95% of the problems in America today are due to the fact that men are not good husbands and not good fathers and not good role models. And he said, if you look at a majority of the young men in prison today, they didn't have the influence and the authoritative figure of a father in the home. A mother and a grandmother cannot do it alone. The man must be present. And I'll submit to that for your consideration, because a father is a source of discipline and authority in the family. And his job is to lead the family, primarily to have that spiritual relationship with God. And I'll submit to you, where they turn to churches and they turn to these support groups, you're seeing a change in behavior. But a lot of the young men in prison, unfortunately, didn't have a father at home with them to teach them right from wrong.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So what's your number two issue, Kelly?
Education. But I think education from a perspective of, I think that, kids today face so many issues, often in the home, often with themselves. And I'm speaking a lot from a standpoint of from a therapist standpoint, and the issues I see with kids. There's a lot of anxiety, there's a lot of depression, there's a lot of ADHD, which, some of it, I think I blame that on diet and chemicals in foods now. I
Sure.
think that has helped with the increase in ADHD, and people don't realize that, but more and more studies are pointing in that direction. Some of it's genetic, but I think, if in the school system, especially, if you do not address the mental health issues of children, then you can teach them math and reading and social studies and science till the cows come home, and they're not going to get it. Because if a child is battling anxiety, they're battling depression, they're battling hunger in the home, they're battling domestic violence in the home, they're battling homelessness, which Onslow County has a significant number of homeless children here.
Yes.
You can, if you have all those things going on, the child is not going to learn in the classroom, because these are pressing matters. A child's mental health directly contributes to their ability to understand the information, to grasp it. I mean, this is not gone are the days, even from when I was a kid, where, reading and math and everything took precedent. Those days are over. Like, there's too many other outside influences that affect a child's ability to learn. And, another thing too is, sadly enough, and I see this a lot, not every kid has involved parents. It just doesn't happen. And I've even seen children that needed to come to therapy that were recommended, even, like, for example, by DSS, and they had to come to
Right.
therapy. Parents don't bring them. So there's a lot of kids that are going with diagnosed mental health issues, ADHD, um, depression, anxiety, and the parents will not get the treatment they need. So I mean,
Sad.
and the child is struggling in school, and because if they have, for example, ADHD, they can't focus, they can't grasp it, or they have some kind of learning disability where maybe they are dyslexic, or maybe there's some kind of issue that needs to be addressed and could easily be solved maybe with an IEP or 504 or one-on-one instruction or after school tutoring or going to speech therapy or doing this,
Right.
and they can't get it. So I think the schools, I think we need to take some of that money that the government's been giving out, the COVID money and stuff, and give it directly to the school system to hire full-time counselors. 1 or 2 per school, I'm telling you right now, is not enough. And I'm speaking that as a counselor.
Right.
1 counselor or 2 counselors cannot tackle this problem. The only good thing that I think about COVID, it showed the problem these kids are having in school.
Absolutely,
This
I
hasn't just
agree.
came up since
Right.
COVID. It's been going on. COVID just highlighted it
Right.
and brought it to the forefront. And the school system needs more money. And I think our state politicians need to allocate more money and
Right.
specifically say this money goes to hire 20 counselors or whatever the number is and I don't even know that we got to start with some number. But I think if we don't do that, we are setting these children up for failure. And I know we got
I
to
agree
take a
with
break
that.
at the top of the hour.
Yeah.
So I'm off my soapbox now. All right, let's take a very quick Fox News 60-second break. We'll be right back. Live and local, real talk. All right, and we are back on this election day.
That's right.
Yeah.
I know we're doing a lot of politics this morning, but we're trying to entice people. If you've not voted, get out there and vote. What's your number 1 issue? What's your number 2 issue? Give us a call, 910-333-0139. We want to hear from you, and we want to hear your opinion. Pete, what's your number 2 issue?
Number 2 issue is taxes.
Oh, Lord, the
Taxes.
dreaded word.
The dread,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
Taxes.
That's something that Reagan hated.
You know, it used to be that taxes was always the number 1 issue,
Yeah.
but look where we're at now.
He had a trickle down economics, as you remember. He said, help the corporations lower or, lessen the tax burden on the corporations,
Right.
and it'll trickle down to the people. And it worked.
Mhm.
Okay. His economists told him that, David Stockman and others, and I totally agree with it. There are too many. It would we need to completely revamp the tax system.
I
Okay?
agree with that 100%.
And Kelly, we don't need 87,000 armed IRS agents to come down
No,
and
we
collect
do
them
not.
tax money. Come on.
Because they're not, and I am against businesses not being required to pay taxes. And I'm talking about big corporations.
Yeah.
And
That's
you
right.
got these big giant, I'm not talking about small businesses, because small businesses, in my opinion, are taxed out of existence.
Yes.
Yes.
I think
they are.
I think the small businesses are being forced to carry the tax burden, and I don't agree with that.
Right.
These big giant corporations, I'm talking Google, Amazon, all those big ones that are paying almost nothing in taxes is just a sham. And their CEOs are making millions of dollars, and they're not these big, the Walmarts, the Googles, the Amazons, the Targets, or whatever. They could make it to where the average citizen hardly has to pay any taxes if they would just pay look at how much money they bring in. So, yeah, totally revamp taxes.
Well,
And-
years ago, they had recommended a flat tax,
Mhm.
just flat
Mhm.
tax straight across the board. That's
Yeah.
what everybody pays. And the layers of taxes that have been implemented since the inception of this country is outrageous. Okay. You purchase an automobile,
Yeah.
you pay X amount of dollars, you pay taxes for that.
Yeah.
You consistently, you buy a home, a mortgage. And they say that buying a home is one of the greatest investments for every, American family, because it's the wonder and the beauty of a
Mhm.
democracy.
Mhm.
You can come to America with nothing and achieve something.
Correct.
Okay. Look at the people who've come to this country. And I'll talk about the World War II generation. As a matter of fact, growing up in Havelock, Cherry Point, a lot of my heroes were World War II Marines.
Mhm.
And I really admire General Paul J. Fontana, exceptional man. He and my father and Jerry Kingsley started scouting years ago. Immigrated from Italy when he was 9 years of age.
Mhm.
Worked hard, got his college education, joined the Marine Corps. He actually was one of the guys who helped with the team that shot Yamamoto down. Was nominated for the Congressional
Oh.
Medal of Honor, received the Navy Cross. Okay.
Mhm.
He was a great inspiration. He said, I love America because America is free. I came to this country with the hopes of becoming something, and look what he did. So, um, these layers of taxes, and again, the mortgage, the sales tax, you perpetually pay taxes on something that you've owned for your lifetime. Why? It makes
Good
no sense.
point.
Inheritance tax.
Mhm.
I did some research on inheritance tax, and believe it or not, it costs the government more money to oversee and manage inheritance tax than what they collect. Why do your parents have to pay taxes upon their death before it is, passed on to the heirs when it's already been taxed multiple times?
I agree.
Good point.
Look at Social Security.
Mhm.
Yes.
I mean, that system's about broke. Congress has been borrowing
Yeah.
from Social Security for
Yes,
decades.
they have been.
Wow.
So,
I agree.
let's talk a little bit about local.
Mhm.
There's a thing 3-2-1. The GOP needs seats again, 3 in the House, 2 in the Senate to muster the 3/5 majority. They'll need to overturn Governor Roy Cooper's veto. If we can sweep that, and I think right now, in addition to that, in the Supreme Court, I think the Republicans are looking very strong to take a majority. With Chief Justice Paul Newby as a conservative, I know Trey Allen. Trey's a good man. Richard
Yes.
Dietz. I think there's a very distinct possibility we can take over the Supreme Court. The justices, if you go back to our founding fathers, the Supreme Court was intended to be the interpreter of the law.
Mhm.
That is essentially their job. When our country was founded, our founding fathers borrowed from the British. You have checks and balances and separation of powers. Why? You want to prevent overreach.
Correct.
Okay. For
Mhm.
example, judicial activism. You're seeing a lot of judges are legislating from the bench. I got a huge issue with that.
I do
That is
too.
not your job.
Mhm.
Right.
You have the legislature, which their job is to make laws. You have the chief executive, which is the governor, who basically oversees, the state. And then you have the judiciary, which is their job is to interpret the law,
Mhm.
okay, and apply it, okay. And many many judges, unfortunately, have overstepped their bounds of their authority.
Yes.
So,
I agree with that wholeheartedly. And it's very sad.
but I have a good feeling about the election today. And again, I go back that the American people must be ever mindful of our proud American history and what our founding fathers and mothers did to make this country free and keep it free.
Mhm.
Freedom has a price. You must be willing to pay it to keep it. And like Ronald Reagan once said, democracy is one generation away from extinction. It is not passed through the bloodlines. It is something that must be fought for,
Mhm.
or one day our children's children will ask what it was like in America when men were free.
That's true, which is scary.
Yes, it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Right. Well, I don't know. What's your thoughts out there listening, Lan?
Well, I think I will say too that I think a lot of people, are just tired of the status quo.
Right.
And I think, people are starting to realize they do have voices. And while, they're not dumping tea off the sides of boats now,
Right.
but they are starting to get vocal, and they are starting to realize I think for years we kind of sat back as people and just kind of let things happen. And now we realize, hold up, look at
I
where
think-
we are because we did
Yes.
that.
Looking back,
Yeah.
I think we let this happen.
Okay, we have a caller. Good morning, caller. Who's this?
Hey, it's Royce. How you doing?
Royce,
Well,
how are
good
you?
morning. How's the election trail?
Oh, pretty good. I got to Catalyst Church about 6:30, and
Wow.
just left there, headed out to Potter's house. They had 70 voters, so I thought that was a little slow for one of the
Well,
busiest precincts in the county.
Catalyst
But
is very busy. Did they get all the machines up running yet? Because they were down to one machine.
I don't know the answer to that. I didn't go inside and
Right.
ask them,
We had
but
a
they were
caller.
moving people pretty quick through there.
Right. We had a caller call in earlier and said that they were down to one machine at the Catalyst. So hopefully they've got it up and
Oh.
running now.
Yeah, there were a couple people that said there was a wait. They had to wait a while, so
Right.
that was early on. But anyway, hope y'all are doing good this morning. I knew you weren't out running the polls, so I thought I'd give you a
Yeah.
call.
Well, that's great. We're glad you did, and best of luck to you. And I hope everything works out great for you, which I have faith that it is going to. And if you get a chance to call us back before 9 o'clock with a poll update, we'll be happy to take your call.
Okay, I'm gonna work out here at the Potter's house for a
All
little while,
right.
and then head
Yeah.
out to the next one. Thanks.
Okay. All right. Be
Thank
safe.
you.
Good luck.
All right, bye.
That was Commissioner Royce Bennett, who's running for reelection.
Yep, and we have a caller in line too. Good morning, caller. Who's this?
Hi, this is Nicole.
Hey, Nicole. How are you?
I'm doing well. I just wanted to chime in on the topic of tax reform that you guys were just talking about. One of the things I've always wondered, and now being a mom of a teenager who is working, is why are we, why do we deduct taxes from anyone under the age of 18? Their paychecks. I mean, they have no voice as to where their tax money is spent because they can't vote on any representative to handle their taxes. And I feel like
question.
as
Oh,
a
my,
16,
yes.
17, 18-year-old, someone who is working part-time and their taxes are being taken out of their check, I feel that's taxation without representation.
Absolutely.
I agree.
Great
Very
point.
good question.
Yes.
Yeah, I never thought about it. Yeah,
I never have either.
I like it.
It goes back to that, like you were saying, the many layers of taxes that we pay.
Yeah.
You pay for taxes you pay your taxes when you buy something such as a car, but then you have to pay property tax on owning that vehicle every year. And heaven forbid you live in the city, you pay double tax because you pay county and city on the same vehicle you already taxed on
Absolutely.
previously.
You're right. 'cause
Kelly and I do that.
yeah, we do it, and it's awful. Yeah.
Yes, it is.
It's one of those things where you're taxed at every turn, and then if nothing else, anyone under the age of 18 who cannot vote for where their tax dollars go, they should not have taxes taken out of their check.
That's an excellent point.
Mhm.
Excellent.
Yeah, it
I
is.
never thought about that.
I agree.
I mean, that's my 2 cents on just that, and I wanted to call in and just voice that idea, and maybe
I love it.
any of our representatives listening who are, talking about trying to reform tax, even at the state level, if, obviously federal, they're not going to give up that money. But at least at the state level, that should be a conversation to be had.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Well, Nicole, have you voted yet?
I'm actually on my way to vote this morning.
Well,
Yay.
happy voting then. You pretty much know who you're voting for?
I do. I did my research. I try to look at everybody's, their platform and what they're standing for. And then if they're an incumbent, I look at what they've done while in office. And, if it doesn't meet my views or what what I think we should be doing, then I don't care what letter's behind your name.
Well,
Yes.
there you go, an informed
gonna vote
voter.
for-
I love it.
An informed voter, and we thank you for that.
She's doing it.
Well,
the right
you
way.
ladies have a great day.
You
too,
And
Nicole.
like I said, I know y'all are busy, so I just wanted to chime in there.
Oh, no,
thank
we're
you.
glad you did.
No,
thank you
thank
for
you.
calling.
Thanks, Nicole.
All right. Bye-bye.
Have a good day. See, that's what it's all about. And like I said, gone are the days where the letter behind the name meant something.
Well, we've lost the middle ground. There is
Yeah.
no middle
Yeah.
ground anymore. There is no longer everyone working together.
Yeah. I mean,
Because parties have split, and if you're a Democrat, they vote strictly.
Yeah.
You know, you've got
Mhm.
people that, well, I had Republicans that I talked to at the polls that said, I would never vote for a Democrat. I don't care who they are. But then I've had a lot of Republicans say they split their tickets. So there you go.
Well, there's also a lack of civility.
Yes.
oh, oh my
Absolutely.
word.
During
Yes,
Ronald
Lord.
Reagan's time, he was a
Yeah.
master at bringing the
Mhm.
Democrats and the Republicans together,
Together.
and said, "Here's the common ground. Here's where we can
Right.
work together."
Yeah.
Okay. Walter Sr. and Walter Jr. were perfect examples
Yeah.
of that. How many times did both of them reach across the table?
Yes.
Although Walter Sr. was a, Democrat, he was very
Right.
conservative and godly man. Walter Jr. was very much the same.
Mhm.
Well,
Okay.
I've seen some Democrats running, especially on the local scene, that were very, very conservative.
Very more conservative than some Republicans.
That's
I might
right.
add.
I've
I'm going to go ahead and
seen
put that out there.
Yep.
Yes. And I think, I think there's some people, there's, as a Republican, there's some things the Republican Party's for that I'm not for. Bottom line.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it is what it is. And like I said before, if people that just strictly vote because of the letter behind someone's name, shame on them.
Right.
Because there are people in office currently that, in my opinion, don't need to be there. There are people running that don't need to be elected, just on both sides. And gone are the days where I will never vote. Just, I'm glad they checked that box. They used to have that box in the state
Right,
party.
where you could
I'm
try-
glad that's gone.
Yeah, they did.
And
away
gone
with
are the
that.
days where I will simply vote for somebody because of the letter behind their name. I'm
Right.
not going to do it. And for those out there that listen that have a problem with that, that does not make me a rhino. That
Right.
makes me an informed person because, like I said, just because someone has a particular letter behind their name does not make them the best person for the
I
job.
agree.
Period.
I've learned
Bottom
that.
line.
Did we have
So-
another caller?
I don't know.
I thought you hit the button.
I hit it, but
You did. I'm
Oh.
here.
Oh,
I was
yes.
just waiting for y'all.
it's not showing up on the thing.
Yeah,
I hit it, but I was like, it
Yeah.
didn't show that it was there.
Well, you were talking and
Hey,
you just
Steve.
automatically hit that
Hey,
button.
guys.
Hey, good morning, Steve.
How are
Good
you?
morning and doing good and happy election day.
Yeah, did you vote yet?
I haven't. I'm going here just shortly. I was going to wait the mid-morning, and this is the latest I've ever voted, so this is
A
unusual
lot
for
of
me. But
people are doing that this year. A lot of people.
I was going to say, while we're throwing Ronald Reagan quotes out this morning, I want to say one he had in one of his speeches was, "It's not about right and left; it's about right and wrong."
Exactly.
Yes. Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so he even understood back then that you can't listen to the extremists on either side.
No.
That's probably one of the biggest problems with politics today is that's the only thing that the news wants to cover.
Yes.
Why do we know so much about Marjorie Taylor Greene but so little about our own representative?
That's good.
True.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So,
Excellent point.
but here's another thing I want to throw out there for y'all this morning is and I put y'all on the spot. I know y'all hate it when I do this.
No, it's okay. We got you.
What would y'all say to the undoubtedly large number of Republican voters out there that are not going to go to the polls today because for the last 2 years they've been told the last election was completely corrupt and rigged?
Then we don't need to
What
hear a
would
word
you
from
say to
them.
them?
I would say
I would say shame on you
that's right.
for buying into nonsense. And then if you are one of the people that do that, you have better not utter a complaint
right.
word out of your mouth on social media, in the public, whatever, because shame on you.
And that's my
And
exact thoughts.
that
also.
is just move past it. If you can't get past that by this point, then you probably need to go to some therapy.
yes.
So,
Yeah.
Move.
yeah.
I would say the only thing I would interject into that is that it's not something that they still believe something they heard 2 years ago. It's something that was been preached to them like in the last 2 weeks.
Yes.
So, I know I hark on this all the time, but it's hard to tell somebody to move on from something that they're going to hear again next week.
But at what point do you become a person where you actually make up your own mind and not have your mind made up for you?
Well, you should know, Kelly, that there are people in this country all across it that are not as intellectually mature
Yeah.
as others. And, you
those
can't
people
fault
are
those people and you
preyed
can't
upon.
hate those people.
No.
And they are preyed upon.
Yeah.
Right. And so when those people are preyed upon, you got to go after the people who are preying on them,
100%.
that are feeding them this information.
Absolutely.
So
Yes.
So that's and I'm not trying to go so far down that road, but if reasonably minded people don't stand up against this stuff, then unreasonable people are going to take advantage of the situation.
Well, that's what they're doing to try to further
That's
their
right.
own agenda. Bottom line,
They are.
I am sick of hearing about
And-
this. People need to
And
move
I
on.
agree. I wish it was something that had ended 2 years ago. I agree.
Yes.
But not just the people who are saying it, but the party that's supporting them saying it is a big issue. You can't just ignore
Well,
that
Steve,
that's going on.
Well,
Get
that's why
ready.
party leadership is so important.
That's right.
And I think party leadership bears the brunt of the responsibility for a lot of the shenanigans that go on. No matter if it's local, state, federal, whatever. Bottom line.
Yeah, that's the hard
Well,
truth.
And
of it.
the last point I will make on that is just like with the whole is there election fraud or isn't there? It's our leaders' duty to go after election fraud in any form vigorously. But then at some point, if they don't find any election fraud, isn't it also their duty to come out and tell people that and assure
Yes.
them of that?
Yes.
And there's a lot of them that have been trying to keep the air of like there's a fog out there that maybe something happened or maybe there was some corruption somewhere still, and we have it even from our local politicians that's still trying to keep the door open on whether there was or wasn't corruption. And that's what I've said to all the people who come on your show. It's up to our leaders to stand up and make a definitive stance on that.
Right.
Either there's proof there was, or there's not.
I agree.
Well, Steve, we've got to take our morning
Oh,
break.
I was going to say, my last question to you, my last question to your guest, and he can answer after I'm gone, is what do you think Ronald Reagan would say about Donald Trump?
Okay.
I'll leave it
That's
on
a
that, and y'all
great
discuss
question.
it.
I can't wait to hear this.
Yeah.
Have
All
a
right.
good one.
Thanks, guys. Y'all have a blessed
You
day.
too.
Everybody go
Thank you,
vote.
Steve.
Yes,
Yeah.
thanks, Steve.
Thank you.
All right, we're live and local. Real Talk on Freedom, 97.1, 1120 a.m. WSME. We'll be right back. Okay, we are back and we're going to knock the weather out real quick. We got a caller holding. So take it away,
All
Lee.
right, your marine forecast is brought to you by Tideline Marine. Tideline Marine has a staff of factory trained and certified technicians to keep your engines running. Tideline Marine, 159 Old Bridge Street, conveniently located across from the Wildlife Boat Ramp in downtown Jacksonville. Open weekdays 8:30 to 6 and Saturdays 8:30 to 2. We have a gale warning in effect through Wednesday evening. Today, northeast winds 25 to 30 knots with gusts up to 45 knots, seas 7 to 10 feet, except 4 to 6 near shore. Tonight, northeast winds 25 to 30 knots with gusts up to 45 knots, seas 8 to 11 feet, except 4 to 6 feet near the shore. Wednesday, northeast winds 25 to 30 knots with gusts up to 40 knots, seas 9 to 12 feet, except 5 to 7 feet near shore. Dominant period 9 seconds. Thursday, east winds 25 to 25 knots with gust up to 30 knots, seas 8 to 11 feet. Little rough out there.
Very rough. That's not even a little rough. But today on the shore, sunny, high of 68, gusty with gusts as high as 32 miles an hour. Tonight, cloudy, low of 52, gusty again tonight with gusts as high as 29 miles an hour. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy, high of 69, gusty again, 26 miles an hour. Yikes. Tomorrow night, cloudy, low of 59, still gusty. And then Thursday, cloudy, high of 76, gusty again.
All
So-
right. Well, we have a caller on the line.
Yep. Let me get them pulled up.
Hey,
Good morning,
this is
caller.
me, Lee.
Hey, how
Well,
are you?
good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning. I just calling in just to try to encourage everyone to go out and vote today.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So have you been out to the polls this morning?
I'm as a matter of fact, in just a few minutes. I was at the office late last night at the Onslow office. I had a lot to do, trying to catch up on things. And today I'm going to be in my different counties.
Oh, my.
So-
Oh, you stay such a busy man. I was thinking about you the other day. I saw you at the parade and we talked to you for a few minutes. I don't know how you keep up with everything you do. And just that stuff that you have to handle, the cases, it's just amazing to me how you do it all.
Well, it just it takes a lot of time and sort of a lot of organization. And like last night, I was there returning phone calls and just answering correspondence. You would not believe the amount of mail I get a week. And but I respond to the letters, and then also I've got some other murder cases that are coming up really soon. So I've been working on those too. I've got a couple going here, one in Onslow and then one in Sampson I've been working on.
Well, we'll have to have you on the show real soon again so you can catch us up on all the cases coming up, because I know a lot of people are still waiting for that one case to come up, the Kimmery case.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's on oh my gosh, I've worked on that case so much along with several others. I've got some pretty big ones out there around my districts, just some that have really shocked the conscience.
Wow.
And we've been moving some since February. I think we've moved 4 or 5 murder cases in my district. And so we've been very, very busy just trying to get cases done. I was able to get that plea done about a week and a half ago involving Anthony Young. He got 40 to 50 years in prison. And so, but I've got some more coming up, just taking a lot of time and just a lot of effort on these cases.
Yes, well, we appreciate all that you do, and let's just hope this holiday season is quiet and doesn't add to any of your court cases you have coming up.
You know, I hope so too. It seems like holiday season, no matter what the holiday is, like there's always something happens in my district somewhere. And inevitably I get a call on the holiday itself, whether it be Christmas or Thanksgiving or whatever. And if something's happening, I just wish everybody, just be safe and just remember that your actions have consequences.
That's right.
And not to do anything in anger. And just think about the consequences if you do something that this will affect you, but also others.
Absolutely. Well, tell our listening audience right now why it's so important they get out and vote today if they have not done so.
Look, we got the greatest democracy in the entire world. And it's not perfect, but I'm not sure man could devise anything better.
Right.
So therefore, let's take advantage of it. There's a lot of people in this world that would love to be in the United States right now, being able to vote, because they cannot where they live.
let's take advantage of that. We live in a free country. You go and express yourself. You can vote for the candidate of your choice and be part of this democracy. Let's elect good people, but it's going to take the people doing that. So I really encourage everyone to take advantage of it. Look, we're Americans. This is a right we have. A lot of servicemen and women have fought and died for this right. Let's take advantage of it.
Absolutely. Wise words. Well, I
So
hope your
you all
day
have
goes
a
well.
really,
Thank you.
absolutely. I hope you all have a really good and safe day as well, and a great week. And I'll be on soon. We'll talk about murder cases. Okay?
Okay, that'll be interesting. It's always interesting when you're on. Well, we thank you for calling, and happy election day. And let's wait and see what happens tonight.
Absolutely. Y'all have a safe and wonderful
You
day.
too.
Take care.
All right. Bye bye.
God bless.
Okay, caller, you still there, Robin?
I am.
Well, good. We had Robin Knapp holding, and how are you doing today?
Man, that's what I'm doing well. I just wanted to report, and kind of jump on Ernie's words. People get out and vote. I just left the Commons precinct. I went over there
How is it
to
looking?
chat on my way to. That's looking pretty steady. There's some people coming in. It's a pretty steady flow. That's encouraging. A lot of people are exercising their privilege to vote, which is kind of exciting. I went out there to see a couple of candidates, just to wish them the best of luck and to see how things were going. The poll's going to be pretty busy all day. I guess they close tonight at 7:30. So,
Yes.
this is your opportunity, folks, to get out there and vote. This is the last day. This is election day, or voting day, I should say. And the last day to cast your vote for those that you want to represent you in whether it's public, or whether it's in local, state, or the federal level. It's a good time. Just get out there and vote. I mean, can't emphasize that enough.
Robin, we've been talking about voter issues this morning. What's your number one issue?
In terms of what?
In terms of why you feel it's so important to go out and vote. What's the number one issue that's on your mind that you'd like to see changed? Like,
Well, actually, I've got a couple of issues, especially sitting as a county commissioner as well, that affects us tremendously, but it's our economy right now. Our economy is, we're experiencing some of the highest gas prices that we've seen, but not just for gas, but for common other things like lumber, wood, etc., supplies. The whole infrastructure to me is kind of messed up right now. It's going through some troubled times, and the interest rates are going up too, and that's causing a problem. And for example, if you can finance a car for a couple of years ago, what an average interest rate is, you're not going to get that now.
Well, I was lucky to get in there right before the interest rates went up, because I have a salesman that kept talking me into a different vehicle. I've got an upgrade.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
He was so persistent, but I love my truck. But I went and took care of all that before the interest rates went up, because we kept harping about it on the show here. If you're going to refinance your house, you're going to buy a house, you're going to sell a house, you're going to buy a vehicle, you better do it now.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Yeah, so if you ask me again to pin something down, it would be the economy for sure.
Right.
There's got to be some type of change, before the bubble bursts.
I agree.
And, you just look at the gas prices, for example. They've been fluctuating, but they're the highest they've been in I don't know how long.
Absolutely.
And if, we can do all we want about complaining about it, but the only way to do something about it is to go out there and vote for the people that you feel that can help this economy to be strong again and to have our economy grow. So,
and I know you wear two hats. You're a county commissioner. You have to deal with the budget every year. And I know that the commissioners, it's a lot of strain trying to get the money where it needs to be. And with this inflation and gas prices rising, I mean, it affects our county too, our county budget. So
it does.
I know it's a hard job to do. And you've got, when's your next upcoming budget review?
Well, we've got a workshop coming this Thursday, so it starts at 9 o'clock in the morning, day after tomorrow, and it's going to last for most of the day. We've got a lot of issues to talk about.
Is that open to the public?
From my understanding, it is.
Yes.
So we'll probably be there from 9 o'clock to 3, maybe 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So it's going to be a very long day. It's going to be intense, and we're going to be going over different programs, and of course, we're keeping our, we're just being objective, keeping our eyes open, and listening to some of the issues and see if we can resolve them. So
Absolutely.
hopefully it'll be a great and fruitful workshop.
Right. Well, I don't envy you for that, sitting all day long and looking at numbers and budgets and paperwork. No. Mm-mm. But thank you for what you do.
Well, thank you guys, and I just wanted to call let you know, and again, encourage everybody to get out and vote, let
Absolutely.
your voice be heard, and I hope you all have a great day.
You too, Robin. Take care.
Mhm.
Okay, that was Commissioner Robin Knapp, also a friend of the station. So it was great to hear from him this morning. But
Absolutely.
I love all these people calling in, urging people to get out there and vote because it's just so important. I mean, if you want a voice, you need to get out there. You need to let your voice be heard.
Yeah.
And Pete, I think the young lady Nicole asked a question, and we didn't have a chance to respond to it
How
yet
about
because we
Nicole?
had to go to weather and commercials, and we had callers. And she was asking about, she brought up the point of 16-year-olds and younger that are working, anybody under the age of 18.
Mm.
They're not old enough to vote and exercise their rights in their voice, but yet they're having to pay taxes. And she wanted to get a comment on that.
Yeah, I think Nicole made an excellent point. I mean, I started working at 12 years of age in Havelock, Craven County. Okay. At the time, I wasn't crazy about it, but I thought about it after a while. And what was it my parents were trying to teach me? They're trying to teach me a sense of
That's
responsibility.
right.
Okay.
Yes.
To be independent, to take care of myself, be dependent upon myself for, my own welfare, and to teach me to make good decisions. But I think equally as important, my parents are trying to teach me the principle of savings.
Right.
Okay, I have a dear friend that I served with in the Air Force Reserve for almost 30 years. And, he used to tell me his father and his uncle had started a very prominent business years ago. But he said, when I came along with my two daughters, I wanted to teach them some biblical principles to make them better people. And I think that's the wish of every parent. He said, when my daughters would receive a paycheck or an allowance, the first 10% went to God. They saved 50% and they spent 40. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's
It's
what I
good
would,
teaching.
yeah. Well, if you raise a child in the way of the Lord, they'll grow up to be good people. Okay.
Absolutely. I
And
believe that.
I think more than now more than ever, that's what every parent should be. They want their children to have a better life than they did. And I think that's exceptional. But
Well, it's like I grew up we were poor. We didn't
sure.
have a lot of money, and we had a mother that was working a job to feed three kids. And dad wasn't in the picture at the time. He had moved on. And so my mom worked hard, and we didn't have a whole lot, but we
Mhm.
learned the value of money.
Yeah.
We learned respect. We learned hard work. And I think every one of us have done exceptionally well with our careers. We own our own homes. We
Mhm.
pay our bills. So that's a blessing. But, getting back to today it's so hard for families. I mean, the average family is probably spending about, I think they said $300 to $400 more a month on groceries.
Yes.
And that's a lot of money. And I know a lot of families who have talked about they have cut back on things that they used to buy, that weren't necessities, but they've cut back and they've had to, like, instead of buying that Pepsi Cola, the kids are drinking water now, which is probably a better thing.
Sure.
But a lot of, I'm looking forward to see what this election's going to bring and what we can look forward to.
Yeah. I think now more than ever is a time to turn America back to
Right.
God and a time for unity.
I
Okay.
absolutely agree.
Lincoln said it the best, a house divided shall not stand. Okay.
Absolutely.
Ronald Reagan was a master of it. And there were other, great, leaders. But he understood the importance of this great nation.
Right. Well, look, we're gonna continue with that conversation when we come back from commercial break. And if there's anybody out there listening, which I know there is a lot of people out there, if you've got something you want to add to it, give us a call 910-333-0139. You're listening to Live and Local Real Talk on WSME 97.1 FM and 1120 AM.
On Freedom 97.1, 1120 AM, WSNA.
And welcome back. I think we have a caller. Well, and they might have hung up, but it's Lee filling in for Kelly and Rayford. And my special guest today and special co host is Pete Benton. And we've been doing a lot of talk about politics, urging people to get out there and vote. And we do have a caller. So let's tune him up. Hello, caller.
Good morning. This is Melissa Usley calling from the Sneedsbury Community Center precinct.
Well, good morning, Miss Melissa. How's it looking out there?
It is looking great. The polls are steady flowing in, so we have a good turnout so far here. This morning, as of just now, I just walked out the door. The count is 166, and the room is full with the line.
Wow.
So I'm glad to see Sneedsbury coming out to vote.
Absolutely. That's a busy poll.
Yeah, this is one of the big ones, but also Folkestone, but I didn't have time to get over there to call and give you all the numbers. So I just encourage everybody to get out and vote like Robin and Ernie did earlier.
Right.
This is such an important process, and I wish that more people would make their voices heard at the ballot box.
Well, let me ask you, Melissa, we've been talking about issues this morning. What's your number one issue and that's making you want to get out there and make a difference in your vote? What's your number one issue with our world right now?
Well, being a mom and a wife and having a family, my number one issue is the economy. I mean, we've seen prices of fuel and goods and food and everything like that go up several dollars in the last 2 years. So I think that's something that's important to the average American working family is paying for the cost of living now. Our money hasn't changed, but more of it's going out the door. So
I agree.
That's
with you
the number
100%.
one pressing issue right now.
I agree. I think that's everyone's number one issue right now. So,
Yeah.
and for our listeners, Melissa is a member of the Board of Education, and she's a board member and has been working hard for our children since she's been elected, and we appreciate you.
Yes, and I'm not on the ballot today, but I will be in 2 years, maybe, if I decide to run again. So.
Oh, you're going to run again, girl. I'm going to make sure you do. I'm going to be right there helping you.
We'll see what happens. But y'all have a good day, and everybody get out and vote and take somebody with you when you go.
All right.
And vote for the best for America. Y'all have a good day.
You too.
Bye.
Thanks for calling. Yeah, and that was Melissa Oakley, member of the Onslow County School Board. She's had her hands full the last 2 years since she was elected because they had Hurricane Florence, then they had the COVID issues, and a lot of parents upset over children having to wear masks, school going to virtual learning, and that's a lot of time that was lost in the school system, and it's going to take a while to get it back on track. But Lord, her and the board, they've had a lot of contentious issues they've had to deal with this year. And while I'm talking about it, I wanted to say thank you to Bob Williams, the chairman of the Board of Education, and Jeff Hudson, the vice chair. This past a couple of weeks ago at the November meeting was their very last meeting, and they did not run again. So they're officially done. And I just wanted to say thank you to both of them for the great job that they've done, and we appreciate them, and we hope to see them back in the public political world again. So we'll wait and see. But thank you guys. You did an awesome job. So getting back to Nicole.
With Nicole, I think she made an excellent point. But
I
again,
think so too.
I'm going to play devil's advocate because I always try to analyze something from different perspectives.
Right.
Okay, so you can get a more balanced view about it and understanding. And again, I want to make the point. I started working as a very young child. Wasn't crazy about it initially, but after a while, I came to the realization that my parents were trying to teach me life's lessons.
Right.
Okay, and again, teach us that nothing is free. If you want something, you got to work for it. Always be honest in everything that you do. If you make a mistake, own up to it and apologize. Okay.
Right.
And learn the principle
I
of
agree.
savings. Because right now, just as she was saying, financially, there is a great struggle in America, in this country, and it's placing a tremendous burden upon parents, upon children, and everyone. And we have to figure out a way, as I've said before, to reunite this country. And I want to go back also and just briefly talk about what Steve
Okay. All right.
Steve.
Well, let's go take our final break of the morning, and that'll open us up for some extra time because we've had a lot of phone calls this morning, which I have thoroughly enjoyed. But we're going to go ahead and take our final break in the morning. You're listening to Live and Local Real Talk on WSME Freedom 97.1 FM and 1120 AM.
Real talk on Freedom 97.1 WSME.
My goodness, it's been a really busy morning, and we appreciate everybody calling in. And I think Steve asked you a question
Mm-hmm.
earlier, and we've not really had a lot of time, but go ahead.
Yep. Thank you, Lee. Steve, I want to thank you for your excellent points. Okay. I think it's imperative that every American be civilly engaged. We have a duty and a responsibility to protect the freedoms that God has given us through our founding fathers and mothers from the Constitution. Let me read this very briefly. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty, do ourselves and our prosperity, do ordain and establish this Constitution of the United States of America. You ask a question, what would Ronald Reagan say? Okay. And I believe in my heart, having served that gentleman, which was a blessing, Ronald Reagan would tell us this: as a man of God, is to believe in God, to accept Christ as our Savior, to love the blessings of liberty, and to stand up and fight for what we believe in. He also said, there is no force in all the world greater than the moral courage of a free people. If we ever turn our backs on God, we will be a nation gone under. Now more than ever, it is time for unity. It is time for good Democrats, good Republicans, good independents to come together united with a single mindedness of purpose that this nation will prevail, that the torch of liberty will burn brighter than ever. We have an inherent responsibility and duty to pass on that torch to the next generation stronger and better than ever. It's imperative that this power to vote, has been given to us by millions of Americans over the last 250 years who've given their lives for the cause of freedom. Okay. And again, I think Ronald Reagan would tell us, love God, love your family, love your country, and stand up and fight for what you believe in. The power to vote has been given to us from God through natural law. It's been given to the sovereign people. It is time that the people sent a clear and consistent message to government. You are our servants, not our masters.
Well, I think that pretty much says it all right there. Thank you for those words, and thanks for answering Steve's question, because I'm sure he's still listening. On this election day, we're just urging you all to get out and vote today. Make your voices heard. We've got to turn this country around. I believe that we're in trouble. And I believe unless we make an effort to get out there and turn it around, it's just going to get worse. So I haven't asked you, have you voted yet?
I'm on the way after I finish this broadcast.
Are you one of those that likes to wait till election day?
Normally I do, for a number of reasons, because I think that's the most important. I've been following the cybersecurity and election integrity issues, and I do have some concerns with what has happened, because I believe there are forces out there trying to strip us and deprive us of the right to vote. The power belongs to the people, not the government.
Oh, I agree.
The beauty of
Amen.
America is we have the right to choose.
Right.
You know, it's so easy to forget how blessed we are, but we need to sit down and reflect upon the men and women who protected this country and who served this country and our founding
Absolutely.
fathers.
Absolutely. I agree with that. And God bless all our military through all
Yep.
these times. And we've got holiday seasons coming up, and a lot of them will be gone from home and not with their families. And so say a prayer for them. And look, I've got breaking news. I found where to buy green light bulbs for your outdoor porches. Amazon has got them. I saw my neighbor had them, and I was like, I called him, like, where are you getting these? He said he had gone to Walmart or Home Depot and bought the green light bulbs, and he brought me over a couple last night. Bless him. Thank you so much, Rick and Deb, for that. And I went ahead and went on Amazon and I ordered about a 4-pack from them. So if you haven't done so, get you a green light bulb, be using it. It's our way to honor our veterans and say thank you for everything that they've done for us. And in closing, any words, Pete?
I always loved, Lee Greenwood's song, God Bless the USA.
Oh,
And many
yes.
years ago when I was talking to Lee, and I asked him, I said, Lee, why did you write God Bless the USA? You know what he said?
No.
To reunite the country.
Oh my gosh. Well,
That flag stands for freedom, and
that's
they
right.
can't take it away.
That's right. And we've got to be out there. We've got to be practicing our freedom. We need to. So just get out there and vote. And with that, we're going to end the show today. Thank you, P, for coming in and helping me
Absolutely.
today. And Rayford should be back tomorrow. We'll have the gang back. And if you've not voted, please, I urge you to get out there and vote. So you've been listening to Live and Local and Real Talk on WSME, Freedom 97.1 FM and 1120 AM. Have a great day.